Snow White.
Once upon a time, in a large and beautiful castle, lived a pretty princess named Snow White. She shone like a brilliant gem of the castle, and her kind heart was as beautiful as her appearance. At dawn, she would stroll in the castle's gardens, conversing with the birds, and in the afternoons she played with the court's children, gifting them her warm laughter. However, the queen could not hide her jealousy towards Snow White. She would ask her magic mirror every day,
"Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?"
and the mirror would always reply,
"Your Majesty, the fairest of all is Snow White."
These words plunged the queen's heart into deep darkness. Eventually, she hatched an evil plan. She summoned a huntsman to take Snow White into the deep forest and endanger her. But the huntsman, moved by the pure and innocent Snow White, set her free. He advised her to run far away, and trembling with fear, she fled into the forest. To avoid the queen's wrath, the huntsman presented the heart of another animal as a deceitful proof of his task. Wandering in the forest, exhausted and scared, Snow White's steps led her to a small, cozy house, the home of 7 dwarfs. The dwarfs were initially surprised to find Snow White, but soon felt sympathy for her sad story and allowed her to stay with them. Meanwhile, the queen learned through her mirror that Snow White was still alive. The queen's anger and jealousy deepened. She disguised herself thrice to visit the house. The first 2 attempts failed, but on her last try she used a poisoned apple. Snow White ate the apple and immediately collapsed. Grieving, the dwarfs made a transparent glass coffin for her. They placed her in a quiet spot in the forest, wishing her beauty and purity to be remembered forever. Animals gazed at her sleeping form with sad eyes. One day, a prince passing through the forest discovered Snow White in the glass coffin. Drawn by her beauty, he approached the coffin and felt love for her. The prince gently opened the coffin and gave Snow White a kiss of love. It was like magic. Snow White opened her eyes, smiled at the prince, and they fell for each other. Snow White and the prince had a splendid wedding. The dwarfs and forest animals gathered to celebrate their happiness. The wicked queen eventually met her downfall due to her misdeeds. Snow White and the prince lived in love and happiness, and their story became a legend of eternal love told throughout the world.